Welcome back to the fourth installment of the Charm Diaries, a daily vlog where I talk about my process of becoming a full-time content creator. And today we're going to be discussing the exciting subject of sound. It is all around us, and honestly, if you're anything like me, you've got fucking no idea how that happens, why it happens, or how to make it better. But I do want to learn about sound. And one of the reasons I'm talking about sound today is because I've just invested in one of these, which is essentially a wireless microphone that plugs into my camera. One of the challenges that I feel like I've got with creating content outside of this wonderful cabin that I've got is that the sound quality is generally more difficult to get to a good level when you're out and about, especially if you're just using microphones that are in your camera or in your phone. Now, I know I said on the previous video that you don't need expensive equipment and you don't need to do that to get started, and I think that is true unless that piece of equipment you really feel like is restricting you. Now, if you're just going to carry your phone around and you're going to do content that's largely on your phone and you're going to be quite close to it all the time, I think that is more than fine. For me, I want to do a bit more stuff where I'm getting away from the camera, I'm a little bit further away, I'm doing stuff outside. I want to maybe film other people from a distance just to get different angles, I want to produce content that is maybe a bit more complex than the stuff that I'm doing right now. And I feel like what I need to make sure that the sound quality is good is to make sure I can mic people up. Now, these can get pretty expensive microphones. In fact, a couple of years ago, I'd actually bought myself a Sennheiser ME2, which is just a wireless microphone, but it cost me about 500 quid at the time. And then because I wasn't using it, I wasn't doing anything with content at the time, I sold it. And now, of course, I could do with that. But instead, I've had to invest in one of these. This is a Synco G2 Pro, and it comes with two microphones and two receivers. No, two microphones and one receiver, sorry. They're fairly similar to the Rode mics, which, if you don't know what they are, you've probably seen them because you'll see people holding a little thing like this and it's got like a fluffy thing on top, or you'll see people with it attached to them like this. I can use this directly as a microphone, and I've got two of these, or what you see now is I've actually got a lav mic on under my jumper, which feeds into this, and then I've got a wireless receiver on my camera, which is pumping the sound from that lav mic into my camera. So I can be all the way back here, and the sound quality shouldn't change at all, really. You should be able to hear my voice the same way here as you do when I'm right at the front of the camera. Now, voice is just one thing from a sound perspective. I don't think we realise how much sound makes a difference. When you're watching a film, you're watching a TV series, you're watching any kind of content that you might consume, you don't really consider what a big difference sound makes. If you've seen any of those videos where they take horror films and put like jokey music over the top, or they take a jokey video and put horror music over the top, it completely changes how that footage feels just by the sound that is present on the video. It's also immediately obvious if you're watching a piece of content with bad audio how difficult that is to watch. But it's not something we really consider. What most people consider, I think, certainly what I considered a lot when I was starting to make content, was I need the footage to be the best quality it can possibly be. And then the sound came after, which is why previously you would have saw me at my desk with this fun thing in front of me. Because the easiest way for me to get great quality audio was to sit and use my microphone at my desk and record the audio in my computer, record the footage on my camera, and then sync those two things up afterwards. But that restricts me to being right here, doing it right on my desk with a microphone in front of me. And I think it just has a different dynamic to me. I'm only sat slightly further back than I would have been otherwise, but there's just a certain amount of freedom I get by being away from my desk. And if I want to go and record footage outside, or if I want to go and place my camera somewhere and step away from it and record footage in that way, I wouldn't be able to do that and get the sound quality to the level that I want to get it. That's why I've invested in this. Now, there's a couple of caveats that I would put to this. One is Black Friday, and this happened to be slightly cheaper. I've been looking at microphones for a while, and avoided getting one because I'm trying not to spend too much money on things that I don't think I need. This ended up costing me about £139. I think when I previously looked at it, it was as high as £200. So I went with this one, which is actually a budget option. So 139 quid is a pretty good deal for 2 microphones. It comes with 2 lav connections. It comes with a whole bunch of other connectors to put into your phone and to do whatever else. It comes with a really nice charging case like this to carry it all around. But I did pay my own money for this. They haven't sent it to me. I did look at the Rode microphones. They're considerably more expensive, and the cheaper ones only come with one. There's some benefits to having that. It will record the audio in the actual device itself, which this doesn't have at all. It has to record directly into a camera or into a computer or into a phone, something like that. But hopefully now you will be able to see me, because I've got 2 microphones, either going out to events and doing content where I can mic up other people, doing pieces of content that are a bit more arranged or written or set up where I can have multiple people in it and the audio quality should still be good. And also just me being brave enough to go outside with a camera and be able to record stuff where I'm not having to be like right in front of the camera to get the audio quality where I want it to be. The other thing about sound, I talked in another video about all these different skills you need to have to be a content creator, or these skills that you need to, not to have, but to be able to develop. So you need design skills, you need editing skills, and audio is one of those. So I've spent so much time, trying to figure out the different things, even just the filters that I have on my microphone within Streamlabs. I watched a lot of tutorial videos to make sure that it was removing unwanted sound, that it was picking up my voice properly, all of those things to make sure that the stream sounded like it was good quality. I've done a lot of stuff, podcasts and that kind of thing, where I've tried to edit the audio and it sounds either really muddy or really tinny, just because basically I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure this out on the fly. So this is something I've got to learn, how to clean up audio and how to make it sound really crisp without going over the top and making it sound either muddy or fake or whatever that might be. The other thing that I've been experimenting a little bit with in videos, and you'll see this in some videos, is adding both sound effects and music to video. Like I said, they make a huge difference. If this video was just me speaking, I think it would be fine. The content would be exactly the same. But there's something that's much more engaging where there's some kind of underlying soundtrack. But I was very lucky when I was younger. I got to spend time on film sets and stuff and see how some of these feature films and award-winning short films are actually produced behind the scenes. And what's really interesting is when they shout action on a film set, what you have for the most part is complete silence apart from the people that are acting in that scene. Everything that you hear, so you imagine a scene where you're in a nightclub, for example. This is a scene that I've seen being filmed. When they shout action, it is complete silence apart from the actors that are speaking at that time. And they're doing the thing where they're talking like this, like they're trying to talk over music. So when it comes to adding other stuff on, it doesn't just sound like they're talking at a normal volume in a club, but really they're just doing this. So it sounds like they're trying to shout over the music, but it's complete silence. All the people dancing in the background, they're dancing to nothing. It's silence, complete and utter silence. Everything else that you hear in that scene, whether that be a glass clinking, people throwing bottles away, barmaids and stuff moving about in the background, the music is all added in post-production. That whole soundscape is created to fit that shot. That's something that I've been trying to think about, experimenting with things called cinematic risers, for example, to transition from one piece of music to another or to add tension. It's really hard to describe what a riser is, but I'll just put one here for you. That's a cinematic riser, or it's an example of one. You'll see sometimes that if I transition between shots and I use a whip effect, so it looks like it's whipping the camera from one side to the other, I'll add a whoosh sound effect in there. So I'll do that now. So let's whip the camera and you will have heard the whoosh sound effect. This is the same effect. This is the same transition effect without the sound effect. Doesn't have the same impact, does it? And you'll see, if you've ever seen clips of people's editing software for big films or even short films, you'll see layers upon layers upon layers of both video but also sound. All the different sound effects that you might want to add, all added in post-production, just so they're as clean as they possibly can be. And it makes the video feel completely different. So this is one of the layers of me trying to add levels to the content that I'm producing, even if the content is just me sitting and talking to a camera. But this is all stuff that I've got to learn on the fly, that I've got to go and watch tutorials on. This is one of the exciting things I think about being a content creator at this point, is that you can go on the internet, you can search for these things, and you can learn from other creators, you can learn from professionals. There's so much content on the internet that shows you how to do this. So anyway, first of all, I wanted to show off my new microphone. Like I said, this is the Synco G2 Pro. If you're interested in looking at the equipment that I use, and there's other options out there, both more expensive and maybe cheaper, but I do think to an extent you get what you pay for with this stuff. I bought this in the Black Friday sale. This is part of my focus, producing more content, producing different types of content, producing more varied content, and also making sure that we maintain a certain level of quality, if you like. So anyway, I hope you like this, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you've watched this far. Very much appreciate you, and I'll see you for the next Charm Diaries.